Game time decisions from Buckeye Talk for Ohio State against Michigan State. First road trip of the year for the Buckeyes this Saturday. I'm Nathan Baird of cleveland.com along with Stephen Means. These are the determining factors we think for this game as Ohio State tries to improve to 6-0. Stephen, what is your game time decision?
Yeah, so much is going to be made of the fact that Ohio State might be able to just throw the ball all over this secondary for Michigan State because it stinks. But I kind of want to flip it on its head a little bit and focus on Ohio State's secondary a little. And Michigan State doesn't have a ton of guys, but they do have Jalen Reed, who is a pretty quality wide receiver, one of the better wide receivers in the Big Ten, not on Ohio State's roster. And we've talked at length about the way Denzel Burke has looked this season. And we were even talking in the Woody when we were waiting on player interviews on Wednesday night about the fact he's been good in coverage until it's time to do the most important part in coverage. And that's like knock the ball away or pick it off or make sure a wide receiver doesn't catch it. And last season, whenever Denzel Burke was playing a guy who was at least a little bit of a dude, he did pretty well. I want to see if what Denzel Burke does against Michigan State's wide receivers this week, and maybe he can start to trend things back in the right direction, even if he's not 100% healthy, whether it's because of the shoulder or having surgery on his hand. He just hasn't looked anywhere close to what he was last year, which was pretty good, which we also know was for a freshman. So can he use this game to maybe turn his season around a little bit?
Yeah, as Ryan Day said, and we've seen it with our own eyes, he's in the right place often. He's just not finishing plays. He's not making plays
Mm-hmm.
on the ball to finish out those plays. He's looked out of sorts. He's looked not like the receiver, the defensive back that we saw last year. And my game time decision is actually kind of a corollary to that. So I was looking at things. What are the few things Ohio State really isn't doing very well right now? They're actually tied for the seventh fewest number of 10 or more yard plays allowed this year. So they're not getting gashed a lot by teams regularly. They're making teams work for their yards in general. However, they're one of 32 teams that have allowed 450 plus yard plays this year. They're also in the bottom half of college football and having allowed 40 plus yard plays, and we're only 5 games in. So it doesn't take that many to rank pretty low in that. But I think this is the kind of game where they're going to get a little bit of a challenge. This is the kind of team, because of Peyton Thorne, because of Jaden Reed, because of Keon Coleman, whoever else Michigan State has, that could snap off a big play like that. Ohio State needs to have a week where it eliminates those. And the back end of that is, I guess, with the pass rush finally getting home too. But Jack Sawyer was talking after practice on Wednesday about this concept of a complete game and how the defense is still, not that they're ever going to, I guess, be 100% satisfied, but this defense is still seeing enough leakage that it wants to clean up. And this is a week to maybe choke off some of those like little annoying problems and give yourself some momentum going into the bye week. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, like momentum going into a week off, but like finish the first half of the season on an even stronger note. Go into the lab for a couple of weeks, actually, take a break, but also hit the practice field for a couple of weeks, and then come out of that even stronger into the back half of the schedule. We're gonna have a lot more about those topics on our Buckeye Talk post game pod, how Ohio State performed in those areas. So listen to that. We'll get that up as soon as we can, probably very late Saturday night or early Sunday morning. And get the text 614-350-3315. That's where you'll be getting actual game time decision information from us, whether it's injuries or who's suiting up or how they look down on the field. That's where we'll be texting first and foremost and almost exclusively from Buckeye Talk.